What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Daily Refinement. My name is Chris. Thank you so much for joining me. In this episode, we're going to go over the number one obstacle to you reaching your reseller goals. Is very obvious. I'm super fired up right now because I'm listening to Think and Grow Rich again by Napoleon Hill. If you haven't listened to it, just type it into Google and you can listen to it for free. Think and Grow Rich, or on YouTube, or you can use my Audible link in the description below and get it for free, and I get some credit, which helps me continue to do this channel. But let's get straight into it. The number one mistake that resellers make is they don't set a timeline. They don't set a goal as far as a date. You need a date in order to reach your reseller goal. So in this experiment that we're doing the reseller field guide store. Let's get into it. I'm selling some batteries right now because there was a gentleman that reached out to me that's doing $40,000 a month in batteries. And I checked out his store, pretty interesting. So that's going to be one of the categories I try to research. We're now at 81 items. My store has done around $1,500 in sales so far. It's been a little over 30 days, like 32 days. And in this store, I'm going to grow to $40,000 listed by eBay Open. So that's a very specific date. That's July 23rd. That gives me 28 days or so to grow this from about 5,000 listed. Let's look at this. I think we have 5,000 listed. We have 5,700 listed roughly. Today I listed 28 items. And I am on a roll right now because I'm really pissed off from this book, Think and Grow Rich, because the secret to success is so obvious, which is just pick a number that you want and then a date. That's it. And most people do not do that. They don't set a date and they don't know what number they're going for. So there's a 0% chance you're going to hit your goal. 99% of resellers will fail because they don't actually set a goal. They don't know if they're succeeding. Maybe they're not losing, but they're not winning because they don't know what the score should be. So I want to be at $40,000. I also want a cost of goods sold of 0. So I don't want to spend any money on this because the biggest complaint I get is, Chris, I don't have any money. If you don't have any money, you need to be creative so that you can come up with a way, or just be okay with failing. If you want to succeed and you don't have any money, you need to think of a different way to do it. So I started to put a consignment model into place. So you can see here, I have $981 is what I would pay other people if these items in my store sell. And I don't have to pay them up front. So this store has a consignment model element in it. And that's going to help me get more stuff in my store without actually paying for it. Now, I outlined it on my website. You guys can check out the basic terms and conditions. But roughly, to give you guys an idea of how it works, is it's 60-40. On $100, somebody's going to get $40 they consign with me. Out of the 60, I'm going to try to spend less than $30 out of that. So I can keep 30, which is a 30% margin on the 1,000. 30% of the $1,000 in sales would be profit. That's what's going into my pocket. So 30% margin is what I'm looking for without putting any money out of my own pocket. Now, that's not going to be that consistent. So I also want to go out there and spend some money to get stuff into my store. As you can see so far, I've spent $784 and we've made $688 in profit. So I'm about $100 invested into the store. Not too bad. But we didn't spend a $784 up front. We just spent $200 actually to get this off the ground. Kept reinvesting the profits. I haven't taken any money out. $230 saved in a different account for the tax. It's not going to be that high, but again, I recommend you save a third of it for unforeseen expenses. I'm averaging $20 profit per item. So guys, simple math, $1,000 a week net income. You need 50 items a week to sell to earn $20 profit each to get your $1,000 a week net profit. This store will do this by eBay Open. That's July 23rd, and it'll be roughly $400 a day in sales. $400 to $500 a day in sales. That will happen within 4 or 5 weeks from now. And how I'm going to do that is basically increase my store value by a little over $1,000 a day. Now, that being said, the reason I am able to do that is because I set a deadline. Okay, and now I'm starting to understand, okay, how many things do I need to do to get that done? What does my schedule need to look like? How do I need to get my suppliers? Without that date, you cannot get your butt in the gear and get this working. So if you want to schedule a time with me where we get a goal for you, you're out of luck because I can't do that for you. You have to come up with your goal and your timeline on your own. When do you want to reach your goal by? I can't handhold people to this first part, and this is why most people don't get there. And this is why this book makes me so angry. Because when I'm listening to it or reading it, I'm just like, I hate the concept of success being so easy. You just write down what it is and when you want to achieve it, and then just do it. That's it. And it's so hard to do that because when you put down the date, now you have to do it. Unless you just are okay with failing. But usually you're not. If you write down the date and how much you want listed by that time, you will do it. And reselling, like I said in all my previous videos, is a fair master. If you list in-demand items at the right price, they will sell. Okay, and how do you know they'll sell? This is how you know. The 90 days in front of us, okay, the next 90 days is a lot like the last 90 days. I know this is crazy, but that's what we're looking for in the sold section. How many times is this sold in the last 90 days? You should be able to guess how many times in the next 90 days this is going to sell. And you have to price it the same, okay? Not Keystone, not 5x what you paid for it. That doesn't matter, okay? What you paid for the item does not affect the sale price or the market price. It doesn't. You could pay $1 for an item that's worth 1,000. You could also pay for $1 for an item that's worth nothing, zero. Like you wouldn't even get your $1 back out of it. An example would be a used Merona T-shirt with a big wine stain on it. That has a market value of zero. Nobody would buy that item. If you sold it, you wouldn't be able to sell that item, period. And even if you did sell it, after shipping and fees, you would definitely lose money. The market value of that item is zero, right? But if you were to get an engagement ring with the real diamond for $1, right? It doesn't affect the fact that that diamond's probably still worth $1,000, right? What you purchased does not matter. Stop saying I paid $10 for the item, so I need to make 30 on it. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. Whatever the market is of the item, whatever happened the last 90 days is what's going to happen the next 90 days. And I am going to be really irritable the next 30 days because this goal is really hard. Okay, so I'm waking up, in addition to the other stuff I'm working on, I'm going to build this public store for you guys. And in 30 days, you can see, you'll be able to see this store doing $400 or $500 a day in sales. And I'll share those with you guys. And I have to deal with all the other copycat people who are trying to sell the exact same stuff in my store and making it harder for me to do this. So I recommend you don't tell people what's going on in your store. But since people don't believe me, I had to unhide my solds. So now I don't hide my solds anymore in the store. So if you guys literally want to walk around and try to buy the exact same thing, I guarantee you will fail because that's not how it works. Opportunities are different in everywhere. There is one caveat to my plan that I will tell you guys that's contrary to what I say, which is I'm going to sell a few items that are less than $15 profit, just so I can build up my feedback. I only have 7 feedback, guys. This is not that reputable. I want to get at least 100, and I don't really want to buy my way to 100 listings. I want to sell my way there so people can get an idea. Because if you look here, feedback as a buyer, you can see I have 1 feedback. Feedback as a seller, I have 6, but I've already left 27 feedback and I've sold 33 items, right? So my ratio for getting feedback is horrible on this new store, but that's okay. That's why I am selling some items for less than $15 profit, but I'm averaging 20 so far. Okay, so practice what you preach. I'm telling you guys to try to avoid putting things in your store that are not over $40. Is that the only way to do this? No. Okay, this is just how I'm doing it. I'm not the boss of you. Okay, this is just how I plan on doing it. If you want to do the $10 model, that's okay, but literally it's more than 2 times as much work. It's more like 3 times as much work because you have more exposure to returns when you sell more items. You have more exposure to defects when you sell more items. You have more exposure to items that never sell. Okay, so I want a smaller store of more expensive stuff. I've already had a pair of diesel jeans returned twice. Okay, each time this item is returned, I do not get my PayPal fee back. So this $1.46 fee that PayPal charges me on this $40 jean sale, I do not get that money back. Okay, so I'm losing $15.36 each time this stupid pair of jeans has been returned to me. It's been returned twice now. Okay, so I've lost $30 already on this one pair of jeans. It's like this Bermuda Triangle that sells instantly, but always gets returned back to me for some reason. 2 different reasons already. And this is just sort of like Murphy's Law. If it's gonna, I bet you my next return is this item again. Someone's gonna say, well, not as expected, but that's okay. That $30 is 2% of my sales, which is about accurate. Right? I consider that to form like a form of online shoplifting. Let's say somebody wore these pair of jeans. They look really great, but my opinion on them is that they could be using this pair of jeans as a rental. They could use it to go to a party or something and return it the next day or something. That can happen, especially with a nice pair of diesel jeans like this. I can't imagine you wouldn't just keep this pair. So that's what's odd to me. So having free returns does expose you. Remember to factor in the PayPal fee. They do not give you that back. Okay, they keep it. So make sure you know what you're doing when you come to your numbers. I cannot tell you guys how much joy it brings me to publicly show you guys exactly how much money the store is making. And you guys don't really know how much work it is to try to demonstrate to you guys exactly what this is like publicly. Because there's probably, right now there are 7 people looking at the reseller field guide right now. So it puts a lot of pressure on me to do a good job so that you guys can actually see what's going on. And one thing I love about the store is it's very hard to copy. Like if I found a German paper cutter, that's not that easy to find, right? So I like the fact that it's just pure numbers because it's hard to copy them. And once I've already listed it, then I'm talking about it to try to prevent you guys from totally screwing up this experiment, because I'm trying to show you guys it can be done. You either find an excuse or you find a way. And I am so fired up from this book. I'm going to take some word of advice from my old boss, who has a net worth of $160 million. He just reads the same book over and over and over again until he's like, okay, there's nothing left in this book. He doesn't watch any YouTube. He doesn't watch any TV. He basically hangs out with his family all day. And this is like the opposite of what people say. They're like, oh, if you're a business person, you can't hang out with your family. Wrong. He spends 100% of his time with his family. He's got 3 daughters. He spends 100% of his time with them. He has people who run his businesses for him, right? Not at first. Okay, when he was first starting, he was in there hustling all day. Now he doesn't. Now he spends 100% of his time with his kids. You can do both. You can be rich and have time. It's not mutually exclusive. And it's really weird when I meet people that say, oh, yeah, that's a sacrifice that I'm not willing to do. I'm not willing to build my business because I'm going to miss the first 2 years of my kid's life. Well, what about missing the rest of their life because you're not financially independent? What if in that 2 or 3 years you're financially independent, right? If you figure out how to earn $75 an hour, that's the key number. All these early retirement things are talking about people who live frugally, not like crazy frugal, but just like they live very frugally and they make 150 grand a year. It doesn't take very long to retire. That's it. You guys have to learn how to make 75 bucks an hour. And in this model right here, this is $75 an hour, what I'm talking to you guys about right now. It is. If you were to go to the Nike outlet or Burlington Coat Factory or go around in the shoe hustle and learn the shoe game, you can sell brand new shoes. Okay, there's no cooties in new shoes. For the most part, some people may have stinky socks when they try them on at the store, but they're not dirty. There's no gum on them. You don't need to do any cleaning. That's a very straightforward way. Almost all shoes have a $20 margin in there. You just need to find them for cheap enough. So your job is to go hunt and find the right deal and purchase them. All of those fit this model. Okay, so you would need to be able to figure out if you want to earn $75 an hour. What that looks like is $1,500. Or I'm sorry, it's roughly 5 items an hour. You need to figure out how to do 5 an hour. This is all inclusive of sourcing it, listing it, prepping it, shipping it, all that stuff. About 5 an hour is $75 an hour at $15, right? $15 per item times 5, $75 an hour. Do that, be frugal. You can retire from the rat race and spend 100% of your time with your kids. Okay, now, that being said, I get it. There are some people who are single moms, some people who are single dads. Maybe your health is not up to par and you can't work that hard. That's okay, but just understand that it's going to take you a little bit longer, or you're going to have to be even more laser focused and give up leisure. You only have 70 hours a week to work, okay? 40 hours really on your full-time hustle, whatever that is, 20 hours on a part-time hustle, and 10 hours is a side gig. You have room for 3 things: side gig, full-time gig, part-time gig, sleep, eat. That's it. That's your whole life, right? So what do most people do is they spend part-time on their job, because even though they're at work 40 hours a week, they're not earning $75 an hour. And if you're not earning $75 an hour, there's a lot of time at work where you're not doing anything usually, or you're not increasing your skill so that you can get paid more. And There's also people who are spending 70 hours a week building their business and nothing else. You're competing against people that I know with no families, no capital restriction, and they're working 70 hours a week on their project. Okay? Compare that to other people who spend 10 hours a week, already have a family, already have a full-time job. It is a dog-eat-dog world out there. It's very difficult, very challenging, but just keep in the perspective, almost anybody can earn $75 an hour doing this. Okay, you just have to be really focused and really good at a niche. You can't be a generalist and earn $75 an hour in almost any industry. Who earns $75 an hour? People who are really good at something. That's it. People who are really good at one thing. Not people who are kind of good at a bunch of things. That's like a unemployed dude that bounces around from job to job making between $15 and $30 an hour. And on a good day, he finds a way to make $40 an hour for 2 hours. That's not the same as a specialist who really can only do one or two things really well and earn $75 an hour or more. An example of that would be a plumber. Very few plumbers make less than $75 an hour. And to be a plumber, you have to have a specialized set of skills to plumb things, right? That's it. Sorry, guys, that I am a little bit on one right now because this book is honestly pissing me off. I'm listening to it and I'm reading it because I'm going to start a book review thing with the Clutch Swag. And every single book list starts with this one because it's the most important book you'll ever read. And it's very frustrating. But if you guys want to help my channel out, go to the description below, smash the like button, hit the notification bell, download your Audible trial, get that book, Think and Grow Rich, for free. You don't have to spend any money. If you don't like the Audible subscription, you can cancel it. I still get credit for it, and it helps me continue this channel. And you have really the only book that you need to be successful. Just listen to it on Audible over and over again until you have $1 million. It's much better than Eye of the Tiger, which I recommended you guys listen to before. Just listen to Think and Grow Rich. Pick one definite chief aim. And for many of you, for most of you, it's going to be earning at least $1,000 a week net. If you want to earn more, set that goal higher. And at this point, you've done nothing. You still have to set that date. Okay, you have to set that date. So please, in the comment section below, put the amount that you want listed. Okay, if you really want to be an overachiever, put the amount that you want listed, your sell-through rate, and the margin you're looking for, and what date. Okay, those 4 magic numbers will determine your future as a reseller. I hate to be dramatic, but that's true. So I'm going to give you my numbers right now before I sign out for the day. $40,000. I want a 33% sell-through rate, and I want a 30% margin. Okay, and 40,000. So let me just do the math here real quick. This is probably not going to be enough, but it's not quite enough, guys. I'm going to have to increase my margin to 33%, just like my original experiment. So right there, it's $4,400. So starting in a month from now, when I'm at eBay Open, I'm going to report back to you guys with the 40,000 item store. And you can tell just by saying that out loud, everyone in the audience and myself, the gears are starting to turn. And you're like, okay, how do I do this? I'm with 5,000 listed. I need to be at 40,000 listed before eBay Open, right? Not much time, no time to screw around, right? Also, my half marathon is the Sunday after eBay Open, right? So that means during this whole ridiculous experiment, I've still got to run 30 miles a week. So take a deep breath, everybody. Take a deep breath. Write down your goal. Write down how much you want listed, what your sell-through rate is, and what the margin you're looking for. It doesn't matter how many items. Okay, get that started. Looks like they're doing some crazy construction in my unit right now, so I'm gonna take off. But please, guys, those 3 numbers in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe. If this is very useful to you, great. If you don't like how abrasive I'm gonna be in the next 30 days, maybe take a break from my channel. Put it in your calendar. After eBay Open, I'll be a much nicer person, because the marathon will be done and this ridiculous experiment will be finally over. I can just go back to my regular life. See you guys. Take care and have a great week.